Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here with
There goes my light.
what a great start, man. We're here with an absolute legend, which is just legendary group, Newcleus, Cozmo D. I guess for anyone seeing this video, you know the crack with Newcleus. It's commenced in the late 70s and everything. I'm going to let Cosmo do pretty much all the talking. He's going to be really re-releasing his Jam on Revenge. He's repressing rather, not re. They're repressing it, um, and it's going to be coming out September time. And yeah, so just that's a little quick introduction, but I'm going to, of course, let Cosmo do all the talking, and I'll just kick it off by just, doing the big question, which is, yeah, how did Nucleus come about, and where were its beginnings in the 70s?
We're from Brooklyn, Brooklyn, New York. We started out DJing as a DJ crew well, we started DJing in 76. We started crew Jam on Productions in 77. Started doing a lot of house parties and block parties and parks
Wow.
and stuff like that. And that's basically where the core came from. In '79, I decided to move to further, not to move on from DJing, but to move further
Yeah,
and
yeah.
trying to make my own tracks. And I started buying equipment. I bought a electro harmonic synthesizer, a little plastic and cardboard little thing like this,
Wow.
and a little drum machine, and started doing tape to tape. In other words, I used two tape decks. I'd record on one tape deck, then play the tape deck back and play something over that on the next tape deck and back and forth. You ended up with a single, very crude sounding recording because of all the generations of noise, but you got your ideas done. And that was basically the start of it. That was in '79.
Wow. Wow. And have you got those original recordings? I guess that's what many folks must ask you that.
If I got what? Say
Have you
again.
got the original recordings from back in the day? Like
Some
the
of them, they're on my white website, jamonproductions.com. Just go to the
Wow.
vault and you
Serious?
will get some of those early, not the very earliest recordings, those are lost, but
Wow.
a year or so in 1981, I got my cousin Nikki D, who was part of Newcleus, to lend me the money to buy a 4-track cassette recorder. Well,
Wow.
Porter Studio, Tascam Porter Studio,
Yeah.
and started putting music together. And some of those songs are on our website, jamonproductions.com, in the vault.
Wow. Wow. I guess you get a lot of kind of requests about this material that's just not hit vinyl or been released
Yeah,
before.
a fair amount. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome. Um, I mean, like in the 70s with the parties and stuff like that, and I mean, I did a bit of research on this, and there were very few records until it was the Fatback Band, I believe, and then there was a couple of other things, and then obviously you had Rappers Delight. That was the first records that I'm aware of that came out of the kind of
yeah.
that whole
There
scene.
were a few in '79. Yes.
Yeah,
It's the first one I ever heard on record, and most people have a consensus. It was the first was King Tim the Third
yeah,
on by the Fat Band by the
yeah,
Fatback Band,
yeah,
Personality Jock,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that was the first one in '79. Um, but '79, I think, was probably the most important year in hip hop. And I'm not saying that because that's when the records came out. I'm saying that that's what happened because of what was happening in the streets. It all
Yeah.
exploded in the streets in '79. Um,
Really?
yeah. It,
Serious?
when yeah, I was in high school when I saw my first jam DJ with equipment outside. and that
Right.
was John Dewey High School, and I think that was 75.
Really? Wow,
Young
wow, wow.
JC did John Dewey, what we call Dewey Day. My high school was John Dewey High School, and we
Right.
had something every year called Dewey Day, and
Wow.
he played there, and that was a big inspiration for me to to become a DJ. Figure that that's what I wanted to do, but yeah, 79. Well, in 77, about more and more people. We were doing park jams early 70s, but
Right.
in 1979,
Right.
it was so prevalent that they were in the summertime in Brooklyn.
Hmm.
I can easily say without exaggeration
Right.
that if the weather was okay, there was a park jam going on
Wow. Wow.
throughout the summer. That's it. It all exploded then, and so it's not a coincidence that that's when the records started to come out. The rap records started to show their face.
There's, yeah, I mean, this period, like, I don't know from your experience where when you're talking to folks that are into the Nucleus and the whole scene, whether there's a real fascination of the early stuff, and because it seemed to me like things were happening, but it's kind of mind-boggling to think that it took quite a long time before, like you said, you had the Fatback Band record that came out, and then and
I'm
then.
sorry. I'm trying to see what your thing is. I'm looking at this little window of me, and the name is so big it's hiding my face.
No, no, it's cool. It's all good. It's all
Oh, on
good.
your end. Okay, so
Yeah, sweet, man. It's sweet. You know, no, it's all good in the
that's
hood,
just
man.
what
It's
you're
all good.
showing me. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. No, no.
Finish your question. I was just worried about that. That's
No,
all.
no, no. It's all good, man.
Good.
But yeah, I think like it's interesting when you say 79 is where it really kicked off. I did hunt down and I found you might have come across it too. There's a recording from a block party from 77. I think no 78, might be 78 or 77. No, is it 78? Maybe 78.
Hmm.
And I listened to it. The quality, of course, is really awful. Because it's just literally tape, bit of portable tape
Sure.
cassette with a little, handheld mic. You can just about make out the flow, but it's like bang on.
Hmm.
You're listening to, you're like, wow, this could have been, if it was, if you heard it, you think, yeah, that could have been done in the early 80s. And I'm thinking, wow, this is 79, it's 78 rather.
Hmm.
And then there's another guy which I came across, someone put me onto, and what's his name called? He was a comedian, and what was his name? I should bring up his name. I'll tell you after, but it was called something like Peacock Harmon or something like this. And he put out a record in 67, and the flow on it is bang on. That was a shock because someone said the first pointed me in the direction of the first track, and it's like a funk jam with it's where's the judge or something like it's called Where's the
Here
Judge?
comes the judge.
Here comes the judge. Yeah, so you know the
Pigmeat
tune.
Markham.
That's it. Pete. Yeah, what's his name again?
Pigmeat Markham.
That's the one. But
Here
that
comes the judge.
yeah,
No, it's definitely a very similar cadence. Definitely.
yeah.
But nothing's new under the sun, man. It all comes from somewhere.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what blew me
It all
away
comes
because
from somewhere.
like someone said to me, and I'm like, and then I found the record and it was dirt cheap, and I'm thinking, why is this thing dirt cheap? And then I listened to it. I heard the first tune. I think it's about like the second side. There's a tune. There's one track. Of course, there's no rhythm section, but they're interplaying amongst each other, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is bang on with the flow, and this is 67. I'm like, it just blew my mind.
Hmm.
Just blew my mind. So that's why I really wanted to get your insight on all this, like the complete history and how, you know, it's just like because it's like trying to uncover a kind of like a hidden thing, which is good. The mystery of it is kind of cool, but I guess we're all curious.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, was it an influence at the time? Were people aware of that record? Would you say or not?
Well, Pick Me Markham? Hell no, nobody knew that record.
Right. Wow.
Everybody knew Here Comes the Judge.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was an old comedy routine
Yeah. Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
saw on TV. On Rowan and Martin's Laughing, they used to do that all the time. Sammy Davis Jr. would come out. Here comes the judge. Here comes, you know. But actually inspired by that record, no, no.
Okay. Okay.
I've never heard that record ever anywhere
Wow.
until people dug it up and said, no, that's the cadence, you know. There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah. Yeah.
denying that cadence is there, but all it is poetry to the beat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so I don't think any one person I know
Yeah.
they say Melly Mel invaded the cadence we all use.
Right.
I guess Pigmeat Markham would want to argue against that. I bet
Yeah.
there's some old griot in Africa turning in this $300, 300-year-old grave saying, no, I came up with that shit. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think it's important.
Yeah.
I really don't. You know, when they ask me, I tell them I know I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, well, who came up with this? Well, it wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's not important. What's important is who's doing it and who's doing it best. That's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. I'm just gonna so what was so obviously Sony View Records was the record label that everyone knows Nucleus for. What was the kind of relationship with and history with those guys, and how did
We
that?
were originally,
Is that right?
I'm not going to go into this whole long
Oh no,
story.
you don't have to go in the
I
whole thing.
think
I
most
just it
people,
came.
most people know I'm talking about the origin story where I met Joe Webb
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
but suffice it to say, this info is out there all over the
yeah,
place.
yeah, yeah,
Suffice it to say
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that we were on Joe Webb's
yeah.
personal label, Mayhew Records. And
Okay,
that's where Wikki Wikki blew up while
right,
we were
right.
out. I think he pressed maybe 5,000 copies, which
Wow,
is a lot today, but back then it was nothing.
wow.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I think you had to do an initial 5,000. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so we were on that label, and
yeah,
it blew up when Jonathan Farron, who was a DJ at WBLS, one of the stations. Actually, it was the only station worth his salt. But I don't think KTU was around yet.
yeah,
No, KTU may have been. No, I don't think KTU was. I really don't remember.
yeah,
But we were on BLS because Jonathan Farron was playing it,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and Joe Webb
yeah.
then went and signed our deal over to Mayhew, Sunnyview. Sunnyview was Henry Stone and Morris Levy. Two of the biggest crooks ever in the music business. Seriously. Morris Levy was connected to the mob,
Yikes!
and Henry Stone might as well have been the mob
Wow,
because he ran the music scene in Florida.
wow.
That's why you've heard of TK Records, right? You've heard TK in the Sunshine. I mean KC in
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
Sunshine
yeah, 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 yeah,
Band.
yeah. Right, right, right.
TK Records.
Okay,
That was
him. Yeah,
Henry Stone's distribution network, and
right,
they
right.
ran Florida, and they were pretty big all over the country. And he
Wow.
blew up doing disco. So TK Records, Marlin Records, there's a whole bunch of them, and
Was
he
it?
blew up.
Was it?
But
Yeah. Go
they
on.
they got together
Yeah.
and did Sunnyview Records, and Joe Webb landed us over there,
Hmm.
and so that's how we ended up on Sunnyview.
Wow. Wow. I guess that must have been yeah, I mean, we have we have kind of a little bit of that over here with certain scenes as well, to say the least. So I know what you're saying. We've got there's a bit of history of, well, there's definitely that over here as well.
That's everywhere. That's the business, man.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the business. The whole thing is about the masters.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah. Um, Gosh. So what was I going to say next? So yeah, it's a Jam On at 84.
Mhm.
It's fair to say your most commercially successful tune, is that correct?
Easy, easily.
Yeah. Um, I think there's about 100 million plays on YouTube at least. And then yeah, I just wanted to say what was like the vibe when that kind of started to really get momentum? Can you kind of remember it amongst the fans and the peers, your peers at the time, sort of thing?
Oh no, it blew up. It was an amazing time. Wikki Wikki was our first record,
Yeah,
and it did well.
yeah,
It did well.
mm,
And we were supposed to, because our whole deal, the reason I went to Joe Webb and was for Computer Age. That was the record I wanted to put out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wikki Wikki was never supposed to come out. Wikki Wikki I made as a joke, and I'm serious. And
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had time left on the demo tape, and I said, let me throw that on there. And, and Joe Webb heard that and lost his mind. Said, that's the one.
Wow.
And he told me he'd make me $1 million. He'd make us $1 million in a year, a
Right.
half a million in a year. And I was what, 22, 23 at the time. So,
Yeah,
I was on a Christian mission,
yeah,
a mission
mm,
of love and changing the world and bringing Christ to the world and
mm.
all that. That was my mission. But when he waved the money and said this is going to happen, my mission became Wikki Wikki. You know, um, something that I've never regretted.
Yeah,
I can't say that because it's been a blessing. But
yeah,
I do look at it as because I had basically um, not promised God, but swore to God that this is what I was going to do. And the first time somebody waves $500,000 in my face, which I've never seen, it made me. Oh God, you can wait a minute because I'm gonna go get this money. You know, unfortunately,
look, you're
unfortunately,
not alone. You're not alone. We all have this we all have this dichotomy. We all have this dichotomy. You're not alone. You know,
especially when you have a family. Oh, I see you
especially.
back there. Hello, hello.
She keeps doing this every time I got these interviews. You want to peek her head around the corner. Oh dear. Yeah, it is. It is what it is. Like you say, you nailed it on the head when you got a family.
Oh yeah, family comes first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Family comes
exactly.
first. But I'm not ashamed of that. What I am ashamed of is in the late '80s, '90s, and again in the 2000s, I started pursuing stuff that was against my nature just to make the buck.
Right, right.
And I honestly believe God would not bless that because it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And as soon as I got back to what I was doing, the blessings came.
Yeah.
So
Was that the? Yeah, that I think I remember. It's weird, you know. So you put what was the record that? Apologies, because I remember.
I'm not mad at the records. I don't disclaim any of my records,
Yeah,
but I'm mad at my drive and what I was trying to do. I was on a sex sells thing, and I was trying to get put together. Basically, I saw the Sexy Reds and the Meg the Stallions and all that. I saw that coming 20 years before they came.
mm,
And I said, if I did that, I could make a whole lot of money and be rich, won't have to worry about anything.
yeah,
But God didn't bless that. So every time I got on a mission, okay, gonna get this and so forth, gonna get together with Luke or something, and so
yeah.
forth and so on, gonna get some strippers to rap or something.
I
All
think.
these ideas, because all I'm thinking is sex sells, sex sells. It's easy money, easy money, easy money.
I
God
don't.
refused to
Yeah.
bless any of those endeavors.
I
Not
think.
one
I
time.
think. I think. I hope I don't sound out of turn, but I think he probably didn't bless it because he knew it wasn't in your heart.
Exactly. It wasn't in my heart, wasn't in my mission. And once I got back to what my mission was, because for a long time I thought Newcleus was basically taken from us.
Yeah.
Because they put out a phony Newcleus, imposters who put out really, really, really bad music.
Mm,
I said, well, there goes the legacy.
yeah,
and nobody was checking for us anymore. Jam on It wasn't playing on the radio anymore. So I said, okay, I gotta do something to make some money. So here's the quick thing and so forth. Instead of falling back on my faith,
yeah,
and falling back on what I believe and falling back on my drive and who I was, I said, no, let me chase the dollar. But God did not bless a single endeavor.
yeah,
Not one of those things worked. And then as soon as I turned back to doing music for me, for music for the world, music for love, music for God, all those things got blessed. But the ones that I was pursuing out of my algorithm, that's a word we want to use more and more.
yeah,
None of those things happen.
yeah, yeah. I just sort of remember what you're saying. Like, I think we're talking late 80s, aren't we? Late 80s, early 90s, before the.
Late 80s, and then after the late 80s and the projects, it wasn't that bad yet, but the projects I was pursuing,
Yeah,
I decided to stop because back then I was just trying to produce people and put out legitimate music,
yeah,
you know. But I decided let me just work on stuff for myself, and that's when I went into doing house music. I did the Shalor record, and then I did the Push Pull album, and I did other stuff too. And then I did Dream the Science. All of those did well,
yeah, yeah,
because they were all founded, or they none of them were going against my programming. Let me put it to you that way.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But after that, because my partner Greg Four, who was handling, because I'm a business guy. I'm business minded, but I'm an artist at heart, which means that an artist gets wrapped up in the art and is not very good on the business side. I can do it and I can come up with ideas and I can put things in place, but following through, first of all, I procrastinate like a pro.
Right.
Nobody procrastinates better than me. That's all I do is procrastinate. It's
Yeah,
been me my entire life. I'm about to hit 66. I've come to terms with it. That's who I am. That's who I am. You
yeah,
know, but at least I get some stuff done, and I get a lot of mileage out of the stuff I get done. But
yeah,
you know, once I turned
yeah,
back towards me, because after that stuff, after what I was talking about Greg Ford.
yeah,
He I've known him since early Newcleus days.
yeah,
He handled the business end while I put the music together, did the artwork for the labels, is the
yeah,
creative end.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But he stopped and got a 9 to 5, and that killed the house stuff.
Wow.
And I didn't know that the end that he used to do. So that's when I started chasing the stuff that was out of my algorithm. And
Yeah.
that's when, and I ended up wasting. First, I chased a lot of sex stuff.
Right.
That wasted a bunch of years.
Yeah.
Then I started working with a crew that I love,
Right.
dope rappers, but they talk about shooting and killing. But that was the style. Now we're in the 90s now, and
Yeah, I
everybody's
should
doing
laugh, but yeah,
shooting
yeah,
and
yeah,
killing. So I said, okay, this is the trend. So none of that worked.
yeah.
None of that worked. I started working my King Just. The record Warriors Drum. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey
I
y'all.
I don't I
Oh.
don't. Apologies,
Okay,
man.
that's the '90s hip hop record. It was a big record over here. I don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
well it
yeah,
did over
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah,
but I started producing him, and he doesn't do anything that he doesn't do killing records.
yeah,
He doesn't do sex records.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but again, it was something I was following behind, and nothing basically came out of it. And
yeah,
that was because I think mostly because he wouldn't listen to me. He found the street thing doing that. But when in 2004,
yeah,
when I got Jam on Production set up and I started putting the Newcleus stuff back out, it all changed. The blessings started coming back. And I realized this is where I'm supposed to be. So I'm back now.
yeah, yeah, man. I I I think I got a repress. Well, it would have to be, yeah. It was a repress. We've got There was a time where there was a good bevy of record shops, and you know, particularly in London, we have. I don't. If you obviously been in London a few times, I take it a fair few
Sure.
times, right? So, do you know Berwick Street?
Don't ask me about streets.
So basically, we got a section called Soho where things happen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So the main street basically, which goes into that section, is Berwick Street, and that's where all
Oh.
the record shops are. Anyone in the West End would go to Berwick Street, and they were all the independent record shops. And then there was a street, I think it was Poland Street, and there was a shop there called Mr. Bongo, which was for hip hop. And
Mm.
I went there, and that's where I picked up the repress of Jam On It, and on the B side was Extra T's E.T. Boogie.
Oh,
And
yeah, I know that. I know that. I know that repress. Yes.
so, yeah, that was, and
That was after Sunnyview basically went under. The thing
right,
went.
right. But yeah, that was, still, that was still how you get hold of music back then before the internet decided to change things in a
Yep.
dramatic way. But yeah, so what I was going to say, so street sounds in the UK. Could you tell us a bit about that and like your relationship with, was it Morgan Khan, or how did you have a relationship with those guys, or was it through how did that sort of,
That was through the record company. I
yeah.
didn't. I didn't meet Morgan Khan personally in 2005,
Wow, wow, wow.
and that was a gig that we were supposed to do.
Yeah,
Um, and it wasn't even. I didn't arrange it. Jerry.
yeah.
Hashim.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
that's Jerry.
Yeah, yeah,
Jerry Hashim
yeah,
got the deal. Got the deal for to do because this is the first time that Morgan tried to do UK Fresh,
yeah.
and not the very first time, but the time he tried to bring it back.
Okay.
And remember, there was a whole big hullabaloo because it ended up being canceled. Yeah,
Vaguely, vaguely,
yeah,
vaguely.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I was brought in by Hashim,
yeah,
and there was all these. Back then, we were doing gigs with a lot of the old school hip hop crew. They were
yeah.
all supposed to be there, Houdini, and I think
Right. Okay.
there's a whole bunch of crews were supposed to, acts were supposed to be there.
Okay.
And right before they had a gig, like the night before in Albany. So I called Morgan and said, "Listen, I've been offered this gig in Albany that everybody's doing." And he said, "No, because you won't be able to make it to my gig in time because you have to leave there and get across the pond to the UK and so forth and so on." I said,
Yeah.
"But everybody's doing it." He
Okay.
said, "No, no, no." And then he realized nobody was going to be able to make the show and he had to cancel it.
But that's a strange
And,
one. So
and
go on. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
and that's how a lot of a lot of people hate on Morgan Khan. I think that's where a lot of it started
Oh,
when
wow.
he canceled that gig. And it took him a long time, I think, to pay people back and so forth. He lost a lot of money. He told me how much money he lost. I forget how much, but I think it was in the tens of thousands.
Where was
But
it going to be hosted?
where?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe Wembley Arena or something.
No, it wasn't big like that. It was a club.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously back in the day, like 86 was in Wembley Arena, wasn't it? Correct?
Was it? I don't know. Was it?
Well, I thought the Street Sounds 86 was
I
it?
have no idea where it was. I wasn't there.
Oh, okay, okay, cool, 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 cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Um,
It was in Wembley?
yeah, I think it
You
was in
think?
Wembley Arena. Yeah.
Really? Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
I had
yeah.
no idea. I
Um,
thought it's a club.
what was the biggest like? What was the biggest kind of gig you did, like concert wise? Because before go into this question, you did a chat with a guy who's kind of got a street sounds appreciation um
Yeah,
Facebook page. Yeah, you know the guy I'm talking about.
yeah, I know.
I came in on the chat and I asked you a bunch of questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then one was about the gig, and then there was another one about Let's Jam and the panning. I don't know if you recall. That was me.
Okay, I don't remember. I don't recall, but I know the panning on that pisses me off. I can actually fix it now, but I don't know if I care. anymore.
It's
I
yeah,
moved on to the new stuff, get the new stuff out. You know, that's why except for where's the beat, because it's not my record, so
okay,
it makes no sense for me to put it out.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, just to pay somebody else. But
yeah,
you know, so that's why Disco Kryptonite was born.
yeah,
But
yeah.
otherwise, I'm focused on the new man.
So yeah, we got rudely interrupted by Zoom deciding to say 40 minutes is cool. We were talking about street sounds and Morgan Khan. I can't remember what we were talking about, but
Oh, we were talking
specifically,
about the UK Fresh
yeah,
and what do I feel about how people, you know, about street sounds and Morgan. Morgan is my friend.
yeah,
We after he went through all of that shit and he had to cancel and lose all that money,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know, because nobody was making the gig in time. Matter of fact, a couple of them I don't even think had their passports, but they took his money. Anyway,
yeah,
so since I was the one guy that was telling them what was going on and all that, I say, yo, you know, we became friends.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't understand. See, I deal with a lot of today's or recent musicians, especially in the electro scene, you know,
yeah,
because electro's was happening over there a lot. And a lot of these electro artists, they're hobbyists. And mind you, it's not me, you know, so I'm not saying it's an insult.
yeah, yeah, quite,
This is what they come up and call themselves hobbyists. It's a hobby for them because they're not making money doing it, but they're putting music out, they're putting out records, all that. But it's a hobby for them. But unfortunately, that means you're not learning the business if it's as if it's a hobby. It's not a hobby for Morgan.
right,
Morgan's
right,
been in this business since the 70s.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Since the 70s. He's on the business end. I speak his language because,
right,
like I said, I was signed to two crooks. And we're
yeah,
not talking about regular run-of-the-mill crooks. We're talking about two major crooks.
yeah,
You know, so I know how the business works. I know how people work. Morgan is not a crook, but when you work business in this business, which is very cutthroat, somebody who does not know how the business works will think of you as a crook.
mm,
You know, like you know, and he's doing the least crookiest work out of all them licensing deals.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Licensing deals, you know, you're not owning anything. You know, as long as I send you your checks, you should be good. Now, it's one thing if he's keeping the money, but I haven't seen. I've seen people complain about this $50 here, or this didn't show up through customs there, or they didn't get their copies of their records. He's a crook. So y'all need to stop. You know, he's just a businessman in the music business that's been in the music business for 70 something years. I
yeah,
speak his language perfectly.
yeah,
None of that shit do we ever have a problem with.
yeah. I mean, to be
One time,
honest,
the
yeah,
last UK Fresh gig
yeah,
that we did,
yeah,
um, they were having trouble getting money at the door. He came to me and looked at me because I heard he was letting the other artists were taking shorts. Oh,
yeah,
we'll get paid in the next couple of days and so forth. Morgan came in, looked at me. I looked at him. He turned around. I'll be back. Left, came back with all my money because he knows I know this business. You know, I know how it works. And I ain't getting on the stage without my money. He knows that. You know, he knew he was asking everybody. He knew better to ask me. So
right,
we don't do that shit here, Morgan. But
yeah,
he's my friend. He's my good friend.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's my good friend, and I don't care what anybody else thinks of him.
No, I
I
mean,
know
to be honest, I didn't even like. I just was asking because obviously I just know
no.
street.
A lot of
I
people
don't know any
say
about.
that.
I know
I
nothing
hear a
about
lot.
any of this at all. Like, so
I
it's
hear
like,
a lot. Oh, he's a crook. They
no,
call
no,
him
I didn't
Morgan
even know people were saying that.
Scam,
No, no, I didn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they got all kinds of names for him.
Wow, wow.
I like the man.
Yeah, yeah. I
He's my
wasn't aware
friend.
of
He's
any of
my
this, to
good
be honest.
friend, and,
Yeah.
and he ain't never screwed me.
Mm,
You know, and I've been screwed by many. I
yeah,
know this business.
yeah,
Anyway, okay.
yeah. I mean. I followed the Man Parish channel, so I know that dude got well seemed to get really badly mashed up.
With Morgan?
No, Man Parish.
Well, yeah, Man Parrish got screwed in the business too. We from the same era.
Yeah,
We're from the same exact era.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
Manny's doing all right.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't know if he has his rights back. I know he has some, but
Yeah,
I don't know what his rights back thing is. If he doesn't, he needs to go find some way to get them.
yeah.
But
Do you
yeah,
do
he's
you,
good.
do you think there'll be like? I mean, because I mean, I guess now we got on this topic, like what I'm sort of seeing with music is just like complete saturation. I didn't want to get on this topic. I wanted to keep it positive, but from my interpretation of things and obviously having a bit of involvement, um, I'm just seeing complete saturation. And with physical sales, they're so low that when these guys say hobbyists, it's like the volume of sales is so small now, and but mainly because there's so many, and also there's so many people pushing out music. It's not like back then.
It's total democracy now. Anybody can put out music, any kind of shit. You don't have to get it past A&R. A&R. You can
Yeah,
go ahead and put the shit out your damn self if you paid for the distribution. You
yeah,
know, and it's not expensive. You
yeah,
know, so yes, it's not saturated. It's not oversaturated. It's fucking flooded. All
yes,
right,
yes, yes,
flooded. Thousands and thousands and thousands of songs come out every day that most people will never hear,
yeah, yeah,
and that don't bother me at all.
yeah,
Because you know why?
yeah,
The cream will always rise to the top.
yeah, yeah,
Always rise to the top. And with more democracy, what you're going to find is the better results, the good results will be fewer,
right.
but will be better.
But
And eventually,
yeah,
the
yeah,
amount of them will increase because the more people
mm,
are out there, the more people are learning the craft and are going to get better. Like I said, the cream will rise to the top,
yeah,
and the flotsam and jetsam will fall by the wayside. You know, it's going to happen. It's happening now.
yeah. I mean, I think you're in a status where you've got like such a lineage and respect. And there's a lot of folks that are just kind of new to the game. They put something, you know what I mean? Like it's a different, it's kind of a different, it's quite it's a different kind of path because like I think of, I mean, there's loads and loads of music that I listen to. I suspect there's loads of different music you listen to, and then but you think about what you continue to listen to over all the years. Do you see what I'm saying? And I've always listened to Newcleus over the years.
Mm.
I've always listened to your music. I don't have everything. I've got a small amount of it. I've got the tape, which was the second release. Apologies. I got that on tape around 90, I think it was about 96, 97. Uh, sorry about that. It was, and
Well, I
then
don't know what you're apologizing for. It
yeah,
comes to you in its time, in your
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
But
when
I
it's
mean,
supposed to come.
it was the one that, sorry, it was the one which had I Want to Be a B-Boy and
Yeah, the Space is the Place album.
yeah, Space to Place. Yeah, so it was the tape that I got because I was like, cool, I can get this on tape, and it had Let's Jam on it and everything like that. So
Hmm.
that was a treasured tape for me. And I
Hmm.
when I saw that it was available, I was like, straight away, I'm getting this because especially Let's Jam. I heard that on the
Yeah.
Global Funk Radio, and I was like, wow. So
Yeah, Global Funk Radio.
was it
Yeah.
Global Funk Radio?
Huh?
It was Global Funk Radio, wasn't it? Is that correct?
That's where you heard it. Yeah, Global Funk Radio. Yeah, that's where my show is.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you heard it there in the 90s.
yeah. I'm
Wow.
not.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I heard so I heard um Jam on it. I think it was around 96. Someone sent me a mixtape because I grew up in the 80s, but I
Mhm.
was in the suburbs. So our exposure was quite different from those in the city.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We didn't have that exposure. We would just get the pop music. That's it. That was our exposure because in the city you're going to get all that. You're going to get a much more what's the word? You're going to get a much broader selection of records, imports, the rest of it, because there's more people to buy. But in the suburbs, they're just going to give you what's economically they can manage, which is the really big successful record. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Make like so that's what it is, and also radio station wise, all the stations in London, you couldn't get them in out of London after a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I say, someone sent me a mixtape and it had all the old school electro on it, and it instantly like reincarnated something because obviously I grew up listening to, we listened to things like Michael Jackson, the early stuff like Thriller, Stevie Wonder, Chaka Khan, all that stuff. So when I heard the electro, it was just like, wow, this is like even better. So yeah, so that was I was a bit later to the party, if, as it were. I forgot what my question was now. What was my question on this thing? I forgot now. I forgot my flow on it. Um, Anyway, I'll go on a topic I want to ask you about
Mm-hmm.
because this is like you might have a really kind of you are I guess you're gonna have a really insightful answer on this. So electro, hip hop, and or rap, like what were the origins of all these different things? Because people say to me, like, there's a guy that I used to chat with, and he said to me in the UK we called what was being done in the States, we called it electro, and in the States they called it hip hop, and then rap was basically a rhythm section with rapping on it. Is that in fair interpretation or is that rubbish?
More or less, we didn't call it electro.
Yeah.
I never heard of the word electro till about 1999.
Wow. Wow.
We never called it electro.
Right.
At first we didn't call it hip hop either. Hip
Okay.
hop was something people said on the mic. You
Okay.
know, the genre wasn't called that. I don't think it started being called hip hop generally until probably about 85,
Okay.
maybe 84.
Wow. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, as far as I was concerned, um, funk music,
Okay.
and you rap to funk beats. Street music. Which was what funk beat, a funky raw funk beat with a rap on it. I don't know. I'm not one for genres anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I want good music.
Yeah.
And when I try and make music, I'm not trying to sound like nobody else. I'm taking stuff and borrowing stuff from other people, but I'm trying to make something that's new
Yeah.
on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything like fresh that you kind of that's kind of occurred over the past sort of I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years that you've kind of, or sounds that have come out of maybe Europe or even parts of Africa? Obviously they've got a very different, time
I
cycle.
love it all, man. I love it all. I love all types of music. I love what is it, Ameripiano? I love that shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
As far as I'm concerned, it's house music with the timbale drum bass
yeah.
line. Not a stronger kick, which bothers me because
That's
I
what
want
everyone
my
says
kick
to
to
me
be
too.
strong. Yeah, the kick
Yeah,
is too light,
it's too
but the
like it
music's
is.
good.
Yeah,
The music's good. No, no, I love techno. I love drum and bass.
yeah.
I'm into it all, man.
What did you think of the dubstep thing?
Well, I love Skrillex. The first time,
Really?
yeah, it was Skrillex. First time I heard Skrillex on a commercial, I said, "What the fuck is that?" That shit was new and fresh and dope. I loved it. But then
Right.
everything else sounded exactly the fucking same, and
Okay.
that was the end of that for me.
Yeah.
That's the problem when people take things and
Mm.
they don't grow with them. They don't. They say, "Okay, we're going to grab this and beat it to death." You know,
From the UK, right?
that's what majors do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. Like from the UK, because so the dubstep thing here was like it came out of Croydon, which is in South London, and it came out of Croydon and it came out of kind of garage and stuff like that. And it was all about the swing. So it was like a dub halftime rhythm. And
Hmm.
then they had the percussive elements with which had swing. But then in actuality, it's all got swing on it anyway, because you know how swing, obviously we know how swing operates and that you can't just leave one element swung and the rest flat.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, everyone hates Skrillex here in the UK. It's the total opposite. It's the total all the dubstep original folks. They were like when I mean at the time when I was like you when I first heard the whatever it was the first tune from Skrillex, I too was like,
That's
wow.
what I'm talking about. That
It
shit
was
blew me the fuck away.
it was
But
a
then I heard
similar.
the rest of the album and it all sounded the fucking same. I think he was using the same samples on every fucking song. I was like, what the fuck is this?
There was a guy, right? I'm going into like there was a guy that kind of predated that guy a little bit with the very aggressive kind of that very processed sound. And the guy was called I think he's still around now and his guy was called Excision, right?
Mm,
And I think that he was kind of on that sound, but it was very dark. And he was signed here to a label called Rag and Bone Records, and they're quite an obscure a label, and they put out lots of very off-kilter dance music, like just it's dark and it's really kind of, trippy and the rest of it. And so they put his first record out on 12 inch here, and then he then came over to London to play. I went to that show, but it was the very heavy side of this whole dubstep thing. Very heavy, very processed. And a lot of people really had a problem with that style of kind of dubstep and here was more kind of was much more subtle.
mm.
It was kind of the sound was kind of a subtle type of sound. But it's that's why me asking that question is just kind of like it's interesting to ask because obviously you'd have a different kind of take on it with being in the States and we then obviously the UK where I guess you could safely say it kind of that's where the sound kind of kicked off. Um, Techno wise, what would you say is like your kind of influence on techno and stuff like that?
Well, so the most important thing for
Yeah,
me is melody.
right, right, right.
So I like melodic techno, the stuff that's just machine noises on. I can take a couple minutes of that, or I can take breakdowns of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I need melody to reset me and to take me places.
yeah,
Um, and the closer techno sounds to house, just with techno sounds,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's a perfect groove for me.
yeah.
But yeah,
What did you think of all the Detroit kind of thing, and when it sort of kicked off in the mid to late 80s with like, the three guys, and what was your kind of feeling on that at the time? Like, obviously Juan Atkins, Derek May, and Kevin Saunderson, and all those guys.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
right.
You see how you used the word fanboy earlier?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
That's not me. I mean,
yeah,
my the people I guess I would be most fans of
yeah,
be like George Clinton,
yeah.
Pat Metheny,
Yeah.
um Carlos Santana,
Okay.
Herbie Hancock,
Yes, yes.
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah,
You know, these are people, that are huge inspirations for me. But I don't fan out over them. You know,
yeah,
so I heard the stuff that was coming out of Detroit. I
yeah,
liked the stuff that was coming out of Detroit.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really what you would call a fan of any of those guys where I got to follow them or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Because and I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, Giorgio Moroder, another person I'm a big fan of,
Yeah.
huge inspiration on me.
Yeah.
But I didn't run out and buy everything he put out. I grabbed what I liked. And that was the same thing with Juan and them, If I liked it, I was on it,
Yeah.
and I ain't got a problem with being inspired by it.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really fan out over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't fan out over anybody.
Yeah. 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 But you're right. I think that aligns with your kind of, I think it aligns with, your beliefs, I suppose, as well. Is that fair to say? And,
What do you mean?
just, obviously faith being very important to you and what you're saying, in terms of God and putting God first, etc. Would that be sort of fair to say?
What does that have to do with Juan Atkins?
No, no, I'm just saying because obviously,
Uh,
like, let's say that, you're idolizing um
no,
people.
no, no, no. That's not the reason. It's just not
Yeah,
my
yeah,
nature.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see what you're saying. No, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
It's just not my nature. It
Okay.
never has been.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Never has been. It's
Yeah.
just I have never. I hope I'm not lying, but I don't think I am. I have never asked anybody for their autograph.
Yeah.
It's not what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not me. I'll tell them right away, yo, you inspired me. I respect your stuff and so forth and so on. You mean to this help me do that and so forth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I ain't got no problem sharing, how important somebody's music is to me or how important they are to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But fanning out, no, it's not what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done it a few times.
I hope I don't come off as aloof behind that.
No, 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 not at all.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I hope I don't. Because
I think
I interact with a lot of artists.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And maybe a few of them have expected me to fan over them.
Yeah.
But that's not my nature. It's
No,
never.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. Um, yeah, I'll confess with you. Speaking to yourself, of course, is an absolute pleasure, and it is an honor, 100%. Like I can't, I could have just lied and pretend I'm cool and all, but yeah, of course, it's amazing to be able to chat to you, 100%. Um,
Thank you, man.
so because as I say, I've been listening to Newcleus um, since since I was a teen, pretty much or a late teen. So it's just really really significant for me, and I guess for many other folks. It sort of went back to that kind of point about um, you know, you can have music that you listen to for a period, but will you listen to that for a very long period and throughout your life? That's the difference. You know,
Yeah,
that's when really um, I think that's when the music takes a different, it has real longevity as well, you know.
mm.
Um, what else was gonna sort of mention? So yeah, I asked about the biggest concert you played. I think that I did ask that when you had that chat
We
baggage.
didn't we didn't get to answer it. Okay.
Yeah,
Biggest concert that we played. No, I think the Spectrum. During the Fresh Fest.
yeah,
That was 17,000 plus.
right. Was that like a little kind of stadium or something, or just
Yeah, it's an arena.
yeah, yeah,
It's where the 76ers play. The
okay,
Philadelphia 76ers.
yeah. And how did you like? Was it kind of were you just excited, or was it like just a mixed emotion sort of thing, or
Gigs are gigs, man.
yeah,
Gigs are gigs. Uh we were impressed with the amount of people.
yeah,
And that was the night that Curtis Blow dropped his drawers on stage. It was infamous. Um, um, when Dr. J and his kids walked out.
when you say dropped his drawers, he just went down to his. You know,
Uh,
he just went down to his like what
Not
complete
naked.
serious.
Yep. I
Wow.
don't know why he did that. I don't think he knows why he did it, but he did it. Yeah. He lived up to his blow name back then, I think.
Oh dear. So obviously you've got the rights back to all your tunes and all your music and your library and everything, and
Yeah.
then and you're repressing Jam on Revenge. Just like I guess that's a really important part of this conversation and this chat. I just yeah, just tell us about that and what your feeling is and what your expectations are or what they might not be or whatever.
Well, I've been working on a new album for
Yeah,
years and years and years, since 2005.
yeah,
And I was ready to put it out in 2019.
yeah,
I released Summer of 79 off of the album,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
pulled Summer of 79 back because I'm rehashing it.
Okay,
But
okay,
yeah, I put it out. Then COVID hit.
yeah,
And life has not been the same since COVID. Life has been damn weird.
mm,
And is just this year I realized, you know what? Shit ain't getting better, it's getting worse.
mm,
It's getting crazier. It's nuts. The world is completely lost its mind.
yeah,
And I can't do a damn thing about it.
yeah,
So I have to stop allowing myself to be perplexed, to be blown away, to be overloaded, to be incapacitated
right, right,
by the bullshit that's going on in the world. If
mm,
I can't do anything about it, let me control the things that I can. And I decided let me get back to music.
yeah,
So one thing that is it's almost a maintenance point that I realized is the most important what of all the stuff that I have out there that moves the most is Jam on Revenge, the album. That album, well, they say it didn't go gold. It went 470 something thousand copies, which we know is bullshit. They just didn't want to give us the gold certification.
really,
But I said it's not available anywhere in vinyl, and vinyl is back.
right,
So let me just go ahead and put it out on vinyl, and
okay,
then I'll get back to the new stuff. So
yeah,
that's why this is. So this is just a mission,
yeah,
and to make it exciting because
mm,
I knew I couldn't keep "Where's the Beat" on there.
yeah,
I said people have been asking me since Jam on It
right,
have been asking me. You should tell them why don't you do a song called Disco Kryptonite?
mm,
So when I put the remastered the album and I knew I had to replace that, I said, let me do a jam called Disco Kryptonite.
yeah,
So what exactly would that mean?
yeah,
Because I had to channel what I was thinking about when I wrote the lyrics. I wrote that part of Jam on It, the Superman battle in 1977.
wow,
Yeah, that's how old that is.
wow,
And so, talking about disco kryptonite, we're talking about an actual disco record. Now, we're not talking about disco that people see today as disco, the
yeah,
straight up Euro disco like Sarone and stuff like that.
yeah,
But what disco was basically considered back in the 70s was dance music.
mm,
Four on the Floor came to be known as disco,
mm,
but everybody disco was a generic or much more generic term for dance music or club music.
yeah,
So disco kryptonite to me should be, I was thinking what it should be. We're not a disco group, Newcleus, so we wouldn't do a disco record.
Okay.
However, disco kryptonite in the 70s before Newcleus existed would probably have been a record like Apache
Hmm.
or Sing Sing or Just Begun or
Mm.
um Babe Ruth, the Mexican,
Yeah.
you know, record with a breakdown,
Okay.
because that's how it was in the 70s. It was basically a disco record or a club record and all that, and had a breakdown in the middle of it, and you would rock the breakdown back and forth.
Yeah.
So if I was to reproduce a 70s record like that, it wouldn't work,
Yeah.
because we're Nucleus. But
Mm.
what if Nucleus, using the equipment that of the era of the Nucleus era, the 83 to 85 era, using those sounds, attempted to do a song, a 70s disco breakdown song. And that's what I did for Disco Kryptonite. So basically, I just did a Nucleus does Disco Kryptonite track,
Yeah.
using all the authentic sounds
Yeah.
from 83 to 85 that I use in the studio. Everything that I used on that record was stuff I used in the studio back then for Nucleus.
Yeah.
And the feel of the record is the feel that of the 70s.
Yeah.
And that's how Disco Kryptonite came about.
I feel like a real idiot, I have to confess, because like I'm probably like a million other folks that listen to Jam on it, and they've gone hunting for Disco Kryptonite, and it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what I did.
It does
I'm
now.
looking high and low. Where is Disco Kryptonite? I need to hear this tune. And now, because when you explained it, now it just the penny dropped. I'm like, I feel like an absolute. Now it makes perfect sense why you're talking about it. Oh my God. You must have had this story a million times. People saying, "Where's Disco
No,
Crypto?"
you're the first one. Remember, it just came.
Serious.
Nobody knew about it till last week when I put the video out.
So no one said to you, no one said to you, we went searching for Disco Kryptonite.
Nope,
Serious.
nope.
I
Nobody knew
did. I
it
went
existed.
looking for it. I was like looking for,
A lot of people think it should exist
that's what
and
I'm
ask
saying.
me about it, but
No, I
nobody.
went looking for it. Actually went looking. I was like, you talked about it. So I went hunting for the
No,
record.
you. In other words, you took the Superman rhyme literally,
Yeah,
and you
I took
thought
it
there was a
literally.
real record called Disco Kryptonite. Good. I hope there's a lot of y'all out there that thought that. That'll help even more now, because now Disco Kryptonite does exist, but not digitally, only on vinyl.
That's crazy, man. I didn't. I am pretty unique in that respect, man. Ah, um, right. I guess we've kind of run out of time on this thing, but yeah, it's been wicked speaking to Cosmo D, and yeah, go guys, go get the record. I've already ordered it. How many are you pressing up? Yeah,
500 color
yeah,
and 1500 black and white.
yeah,
Black and white. 500 color vinyl, 1500 black vinyl.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately, you can't get the colored vinyl in Europe or the UK.
yeah,
Um, Well, Darla does have a connection there, so maybe you can get it there, but I don't know. But anyway, it's Darla Records
yeah,
in the US. That's www.darla.com,
yeah,
and Rush Hour Records in the Netherlands. That's Rush Hour NL. I mean rushhour.nl.
yeah.
And you can pre-order at either spot, Europe or UK, rushhour.nl, in the US, dollar.com.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're on
Disco Kryptonite, man. I'm going to
Disco
finally hear
Kryptonite.
the track that I thought actually did really exist.
Yeah. Well, now you get to hear it. this version of the album will not be available digitally. If you buy the CD or you buy the digital album,
Yeah,
everything is the same, except for on digitally you have more tracks,
yeah,
and on digitally you do not have Disco Kryptonite. That's only available on vinyl.
yeah, man. That's why I bought the vinyl, of course. Standard.
Yeah, that's the idea.
It's the idea. Tell him, man. Like vinyl's king, man. What can I say? Vinyl's king. But
There you go.
yeah, man. Well, hopefully, the next record you press up 10,000.
Oh no 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 no. Well, I don't know how
I'm
much
joking, man. I'm
vinyl,
joking. But yeah, look,
but no.
deep
But
down, it would be great to see people be able to press those kind of levels again.
everybody stay tuned because this is not the end. It's gonna keep coming.
Yeah, man.
Gonna keep coming. And new stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, different stuff, but nucleus stuff all coming.
Okay, wicked, man. Thanks so much to Cosmo. Chat
Thank
to
you,
us.
Aaron. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man. Go buy the record. Cheers, man.
Cheers.